right, ladies and gentlemen, we are in section 12.3. Now the third lesson for today. Again, remember, you're going to have your 3 lessons. They'll be due by Monday. I suggest you breaking it up. You can always do the practice page in the book for the practice test. You can take a picture of my questions. Yes, that's it. Okay, so let's look at, now this one is where we're looking at functions and we're writing rules for word problems. So a function is a rule that describes a dependent relationship between 2 quantities. Okay, the domain is the set of inputs in a function and the range is our outputs. All right, so let's start with a model. Okay. Let's say that N stands for the number of triangles and P stands for perimeter. Okay? N for the number of triangles and P for perimeter. Okay? We are going to, let's make a table first. Okay? What do you think depends on the other? Does triangles depend on perimeter or does perimeter depend on triangles? Yep. All right, so then if perimeter is the depender, we put it in the Y column. All right, so the depender is the Y. So Patrick, what would be my depender?
The depender would be the perimeter.
Perimeter, we put P. And then we'll put N for our number of triangles. So in the first one, for one triangle, I have a perimeter of 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, right? So for 2 triangles, what is my perimeter, please? Yep, Irene? No, perimeter, not sides. I'm keeping with you. Its perimeter is the outside, it's the fence, right? 1, 2, right, that's correct. 2, 3, 4. So for 2, it would be 4. Irene, for 3, what would the perimeter be? Okay. For 4, what would be the perimeter be, Michael?
6.
6. Can we guess for 5?
Yes.
What it would be? 7.
Isn't that 1?
Okay. Now, now if I plotted these points, let's plot it on a graph, right? I'm plotting it. Now let's make P is where the Y is, so that stands for perimeter. And the other side stands for what?
Number of triangles.
Right? Okay, so for 1 I get 3. For 2 I get 4. For 3 I get 5. For 4 I get 6. For 5 I get 7. For 6 I get 8. Do I draw a line and connect these dots?
No.
Why? Why? I heard the word discrete. I heard... What?
Because you can't have part of a triangle.
Part of a triangle. I'm not going to have 1.5 triangles.
Yeah.
So I'm only putting the points there. It's discrete. You guys with me?
Yeah.
All right, now let's try and write the rule. And I'd like to go a step further. Well, first we'll write the rule with P and N, in Y equals MX plus B form. Okay, first, where do I put P? Yes, that's my Y. Where do I put N? Yep, that's your X. And then, what is my M? How am I finding my slope? Okay, Ansana?
Delta Y over delta X.
It's the change in Y over the change in X. So this is what goes on top?
1.
Over.
1.
So my M is 1. And what is my B?
2.
How do you know that? There's no 0 here. How can we figure that out? There's no 0 here, Patrick.
Because you can see the difference.
Right. Well, we can get to the 0, right? Because if this is 1 and this is 1, to get to the 0 would be what? 1. 1 unit difference. I just keep using that same difference. And here I'm decreasing by 1. So here I would decrease by 1, and that would be 2. Now, somebody said to me, so it's P equals 1n plus 2. Somebody said to me, that doesn't make sense. 0 number with 2. Right? That just helps us to find our starting point for the y-intercept. Do you understand? So you're right, it makes no sense in the context of the problem. Yes?
I actually, I didn't know why you put, like, for three triangles, I forgot it was y. I thought that each side was 1, so I thought it would be 4 sides. So.
In a triangle?
Yeah. No, for the 3, when you have
There's
3
1
triangles,
side, 2 sides, 3 sides. Where are you getting 4?
Because when you go to add 3 triangles, like the third.
Let's just go on to add 1 triangle. It's 1 side, 2 side, 3 side, 4 side. Perimeter is fence. 3 triangles. 1 side, 2 side, 3 side, 4 side. Oh, 4 side, 5 side.
Yeah, I thought it was connected. That's all.
Okay.
Because when you said 4 sided.
Yeah, that's what I also thought.
That it's what?
Like, you know how there's for the 3 triangles that the bottoms are connected? I
Right.
thought that was 1 side.
Yeah.
No, because this is 1 unit. This is 1 side for just here, and this is 2. Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, so now we've got P equals N plus 2. Let's put this into function notation. Okay? The P of what? N equals N plus 2. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. And we said that this line is discrete. We've already talked about that. Are you guys good with that? Why? Because you can't have half a triangle. Let's look at this one and let's try and just create the rule. We're not going to graph it. Okay, so what is my slope? M equals, what's the change in y over the change in x? What is it? 4 over 1. What is my B, Lucas Malou? Okay, Lucas. Notice I'm going in order and I take it to my 0. I subtract by 1. Every time it's subtracting by 1. Right? Here, every time it's subtracting by 4. So if I go from here to the 0 right here, what would be here? 2. So it would be, my B is 2. Okay, so we've got P and N. The P of N for the hexagons is equal to what? But what is the formula or the rule? For what? Not X, for N plus 2. Okay, questions? Okay. All right, we'll get into really writing our rules right here. Okay, so we're doing the platter of weight for fruit and the price. Notice that, and what's the depender here? Is it platter weight? Is it weight or price? Yes. Price. And they're telling us to use W for weight, and then I guess we'll use P for price. Okay? So how much would a 6-pound platter cost? Can we predict that based on this? Huh? What would it cost? $9.60. How do you know that? We add 150, right? So write the equation. You guys try this now. Go. We'll use P, or let's use, it says the cost. They're asking us to use cost. C, so we're going to do this for C and this for W. Cost for weight. Okay, Michael, are you trying? Okay, pause the recording and try and write it. All right, so first of all, what is our M? M is 150. How do I get to my y-intercept? This is 0. I have to subtract 150. What does it work out to be? 0.6, 60 cents. 60 cents is our starting point. So my B is 0.6. How would I write this in?
Y equals 150.
No, not in y equals. We want to use function notation. Yes. We're saying the y is C and the x is W. Ansana?
The C of W equals 1.50 W plus 0.6.
Hold on one second. So we're saying y is like the C. So we're doing the C of what? W?
Equals 1.50 W plus 0.6.
W plus 0.6. Now. Okay, keep going. Keep going. What are we doing?
You're substituting
How much would a 10-pound platter cost?
15.6.
So I'm doing the C of 10 equals 1.5 times 10 plus 0.6. Okay, get out. Recording. Okay, what is it? The C of 10 equals 15 plus 0.6. So the C of 10 equals 1560. You guys with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you guys clear on this? Are you okay with writing it in function notation? Yes. Now, let's write all of these in function notation. Taxi cab. Generally, they start with the B first because they go, it's a starting point. What is the base charge? So here, it says write the linear equation for the charge in terms of the number of miles. So what's my Y? Is really my C, which is really the charge, right? Okay, and the X is really what?
W.
Little m. Why W? Well, I mean, you're just spewing out words. That was the last problem. Sorry. Where'd you get W? Shh. Look at the word problem. Shh. Okay. Miles. Miles. So X is my miles. Okay. So how am I writing this, Patrick?
So you would do
The C
C is equal to 0.
C of M
Yeah, C of M
equals,
is equal to 0.15 M plus 2.5.
right, but the book really does it, what's my base charge, the starting point? 250 just to jump in the taxi. And then they're doing plus 0.15 M. Okay, are you understanding how to do this? How to determine your variables? You must define your unknowns. Okay, you guys do the next one. Ready? Go. Oops. Shh. Go. Pause it. Okay, define your unknowns. What is your depender? What is your Y? The depender, what is Y? Yes.
The 17.
No, what is Y? What does Y represent what word? The cost or the charge. I'm using the word charge because they're defining it in terms of charge, and minutes. So you said the C represents the charge, and that, because that's the depender, is like my Y. Okay, what would the other one be, Olivier?
1750.
No, it's a variable. Define it.
M for minutes.
M is for minutes. And that is like my X. Okay? So what would the equation in function notation be?
C of M.
The C of M is equal to
0.12 M plus 17.5.
okay. How are they writing it? What's the starting point? 1750 plus 0.12 M. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, let's go to the homework. I want to do one problem with you. I got to take a picture of it. Shh. Tonight, when you're doing your homework, here's what I want you to do. So, it says the Triad Truck Company charges $35 per day plus 21 cents per mile. So what are the two variables I'm using for? What are the two words in this problem? Yes, Ansana? Charge and miles, right? So let's say C is for charge and little m is for miles. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, it says write a linear function for each situation. Then use the function to solve the problem. So the first thing I'm doing is the cost per miles, or the charge per miles, is equal to, what's my base charge? 35 per day plus 0.21 M. Now, I've written the rule in function notation. Now I need to use the data they give me. Now find the cost of renting a truck for 1 day trip of 340 miles. So I have to substitute that in. The cost for 340 equals 35 plus 0 and 21 hundredths times 340. And that's the cost for 340 equals 35 plus 0.21 times 340 is 7140. What is that simplified to? The cost for 340 equals what? 106 point what? 40. All right, so that I would start with 12.3 tonight. Then tomorrow, maybe review. If you want to take a picture of the answers for the chapter test, you are welcome to.